Good morning. Well, we've snowed and we're supposed to be getting rain soon, and it's all going to make a huge mess. I'm really starting to feel like the Nook the North. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some shots of what additional snow. But it did look mostly like a winter wonderland out there. Even though I don't think it's going to accumulate to what they all said it was going to accumulate to. But it was still good that everyone was prepared. It is definitely snowing, and we do have a snowfall warning in effect, but they do say rain within the next 24 hours. So, again, we'll see what's up. So, grab your coffee, tea, hot chocolate, water, and we'll get ready to go. I don't see, there's nothing, you can barely see it there. So, just sit back, relax, and we'll get going with the Saturday, the 10th of December. Christmas is coming. And I don't know, this will all be gone, but who knows? We could have another storm by then. Okay, the U.S. Congress is saying they want to look into buying of bulk tickets and scalping them at events. You know, this has been going on for years. And why should people be able to buy mass amounts of tickets? I personally don't think that's fair. Now, that just means all the elite, those who have money and can pay, like, I don't know, depending on what it is, there's some tickets been going out there for $2,000 each. And they were like, I don't know, $50 ticket. So, ticket scalpers say they're offering a service. What kind of service are you really offering? People who are lazy and can't get into the phone queues or whatever because you guys all have it blocked off and you buy up every ticket available. If it's all possible and comes up with a way of doing more of at the gate. And then when they're sold out, they're sold out. But people seem to always want to go to scalpers, and it's kind of like, well, if there's a demand, well, there wouldn't be a demand if the ticket agencies, oh, sorry, it's just my button there, wouldn't allow them to buy blocks of tickets. There's a lot of shows that the average family might want to go to, and there's always scalpers for it. And why do they have just because they have a system and can get in, and it is the first come, first serve. But, you know, doesn't it ring in someone's head when someone comes and buys hundreds of tickets? People need, and when I say people, I mean these ticket agencies who pretty well have the selling of the tickets locked up. I think it ticked. I'm just going to use an old name here. I know Ticketmaster, but maybe the U.S. will be able to take a look, and we can copy this one in Canada. I'm not really for copying everything the U.S. does, but if they are able to come up with a system that scalpers can't buy up all the tickets and then charge outrageous prices. Now, us as the rest of citizens, if we're, you know, able to want to go see a show, we really shouldn't be paying the scalper prices because they're able to dictate, and that's why, you know, going out to a show, that's why they're so damn expensive. But, the scalpers say they're just offering a business. But, the business doesn't have any regulations. It can be you could be sponsoring outside criminal actions. I think it's been proven a few times that there are some elements that jack up the prices and, well, so-and-so is getting this, I can get this. And it's never getting the ticket as the lowest possible price. It's kind of like, well, they're selling it, I'm going to beat that. But the sad thing is there is a market out there. And if you want to go see a show, get in line. I think Ticketmaster, and I'm using a wrong name, and all those agencies should really get into the practice of limiting the amount of tickets sold and not selling in a huge block so that we can limit this and sell them at your ticket outlets. But, scalpers are not, they're ripping people off. You have a ticket which is expensive enough, but they jack up the price. Well, I got in line, I was able to buy them, and blah, 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 blah. And there's always people who want to try to sell their tickets. And, there are times when police will walk around and try to stop my pump saying something, to stop this action. But it's just because everyone wants to see a show. And I think it really stems back to all these ticket agencies that sell these block amount of tickets. So that when tickets, you can see them. They now go to posting ads in newspapers and, the little guy again can't win. And a few years ago, I think it was Ice Capades or Disney on Ice or whatever, and that was being sold on, we've got tickets for this for $500, and they do say it's sold out, but how many of them still end up with tickets in their hands, or how many of them have actually got the money for the tickets? Scalping, I don't know, has always been around. Scalping used to be a guy would have, a couple of tickets for an event and would offer them. Now, during the Montreal Olympics in 1976, there were people selling the tickets, and my grandmother went back there. She wanted to get out there and see what's happening and everything. And what happened? There was a guy offering her, I think, gymnastic tickets. And some other guy was overhearing this and grabbed the tickets, and it was actually for the day before. So there's still, you don't know what you're really getting. I think Justin Bieber tickets. So just Nico's here wanting to play. Justin Bieber tickets. Ow! He didn't bite me. And they were lucky that they got the guy's driver. Like, I don't know why the guy showed him his driver's license, but he did. And this guy was arrested for selling fraudulent tickets. Now tickets, they keep having to add all these big safeguards. And, the artists who are putting on the events don't get anything from the scalp ticket sales. So, okay, there must be at least a rate that either the ticket companies hold on to tickets until the day, or they've got to stop selling in bulk. It's as pure and simple as that. But how to go about it, where does this go? And they keep adding these security features to the tickets. And who ends up paying for that? The average person. So, for the hockey games, there's scalpers. And scalpers are pretty open because they pretty well know, they get a slap on the wrist. And who ends up always losing in these things? And it's the average male. Or female, sorry, the average person is what I meant to say. But we can't win. It's always important that, people who have money are able to buy up tickets and sell them at huge, ridiculous prices. So it really means that I know as kids we went to a Canucks game when I was a kid, and it was fairly reasonable then. But now you can't win. You can't go out and have an evening and watch, I don't know, anything, because everyone's bought up tickets and are trying to sell them. You go there and there's like 10 people at each door. Oh, I have tickets. Well, yes, people are going to pay it because they want to see the show. But, it seems like us, the little people again, get screwed. I think it's something we need to talk about. Hi there. Just a drink of water. Yes, well, I still can't see it, but... Okay. So, there was a youth charged with, what was he charged with? Police got rid of a plan to hack people into mincemeat at a school in Toronto. And why, this seems to be the big thing. Kids going into high schools. Now, I will go back to films like Mean Girls and, where there's always a bully present and how harsh this bully is. And there's never anyone to really stop what's going on. Well, Mean Girls does sort of have a happy ending and no one got shot up. But in real life, these kids are going out there and wanting to do weird and wonderful things to people at their schools. And a lot of these people have had issues in the past with bullying, and it does build up inside of you. A lot of people take the good route and saying, oh, it does get better, and it does get better. When you move into college life, things do get better. Now, if there's someone in your class, and I'm just going to talk to the high school students, or even elementary, because that's where bullying starts. If you notice someone in your class who, may not fit into the groove, well, go and get them fit into the groove. Make them part. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go out and invite them to movies, or it doesn't mean you have to be within 24 hours. Just say, come and sit with us. Because that's the way you're going to get rid of bullying. You're going to get rid of bullying if you incorporate these people. Now, once you incorporate them, you may find they're great friends. But I think where bullying and that is at such an intense level nowadays, we have to stop and find ways of getting things fixed. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't wheel around. But when I went to school, and I don't know if they still do this, once a week in high school, and this was at Kitsilano High, we had a guidance class. And back then, the worries were, what were the worries? The worries were kids growing up too fast. That was the big worry. And I think we should be adding respect. And I see a lot more interaction with kids nowadays, but that's because you see groups. But I don't hear the taunting so much. I could be wrong. And again, this could be that I'm just seeing certain groups come walking along. But, these people who come up to you and want to be friends, and may ask you out to the dance. Why do you have to shun them and say, oh, well, I'd never go with you? If you ever go online and you type in the Fox 5 News Surprise Squad, there was a girl in, obviously, a Las Vegas school, but a young man who I believe has Down syndrome asked a girl to go to the homecoming dance, and he was denied. And she felt like she should help out. So she made a big poster and invited him to, I believe it was homecoming. And the Fox 5, I guess through the internet or whatever, found out about this and made a whole great night. And you should go into doing things for other people because you like people. The people who say, oh, I'm just so glamorous. Oh, I have to be. They don't care about people. And, we've seen movies, like I said, about this, and this is all ingrained in our cultures, and we all expect it when we go to high school. And then when you find out you're the one that doesn't fit into the crowd, there's an awful lot of bullying. And there still is, and people have worked on it. But I think we have to talk to our kids, starting down at grade 4, maybe even that we have to teach them the word respect and what that means. So I've heard of a school, I think it's down in Oklahoma, where a person is identified, and this group of kids would go and get a small package of candy and write a positive note and put it on this kid's locker. So this kid knew someone out there was liking him. And I just saw the hymn that they've done it for ladies too, or young women. But that's what we should instill in our schools. Not the giving of candy or whatever, but how to respect one another. There are still kids who are going out there and killing themselves over being bullied. And I would love to ask what the bullies feel like after. Telling someone to go kill themselves should be outlawed. Pure and simple. We need to ensure that no one should be left behind. And that used to be for kids that had learning issues and making sure they got breakfast and everything. But I think we've got to expand this and have that no kid is left behind. Now, I don't say that you have to like every kid. There may be things that you don't like about people, but at work, it's going to be the exact same thing. But when you pass them in the hall, you can say, good afternoon, good morning. Getting people so they don't feel like such the outcaster. And I think anyone who tells another person to go kill themselves should be, what's the word I'm looking for? Charged. And the charges should be more than a slap on the wrist. We need to ensure that all our kids don't hate to go to school because they're being abused, tormented. There was one day I can remember my school, and yes, I wasn't a party type of guy, but I asked because my pen ran out and writing notes, and her response was, "Oh, you should have brought a tape recorder then, shouldn't you, loser?" And all we did was ask, do you have an extra pen? I think the respect module should happen at school, and I think we think an awful lot of kids are going to get this at home, and a lot of times I don't think they do. And I think teaching should be done in a respectful manner. Not having teachers yell at a student or belittle them in the gym. Not every kid is all into sports. But that's fine. Not every adult sits there and watches the Super Bowl. So, having these young kids plan to kill people, just because these people could be different. I know, that's just the mark on there. But when do we stop and take a moment and say, hey, you're important? Now, the person may not excel at the exact same stuff as you do, but they may excel at something else. But because they don't fit into your perfect mold, they're teased, they're taunted. And, I don't have the patience. And now I'm older. And yes, I'm stuck in a wheelchair. And yes, I even get taunted by the kids because they keep doing this in school and they think it's the appropriate action. It's like, move it along. Don't go get your Mountain Dew and I don't drink Mountain Dew. I don't drink that much pop. Once in a while I may drink it, but doesn't mean every single day. And it's kind of like people who are overweight, people who are disabled in some form of sighted way, get taunted and teased every day. It's like, move it along. And sometimes, yes, we need help. But I'm damn good at education and such. So what makes that different than you? And I think we have to teach people how to come together. Now, I don't say we need to have a class, but teachers handing out assignments, and we've got to let people know that they are doing a great job. And it could be, oh yes, she got an A and all this. Well, yes, she should be praised, but it should be the boy that they expected every time, and not get praised every time for the A, but occasionally. When do we stop the torment of people? People need to be, when you're in groups, everyone has something to offer. When you're at high school or elementary school, you have to be aware of who's around you. And if they don't fit into your group, say, oh, well, no, you can't sit here. You know what? You don't own the seats in your school. I hate to break you the news. So be gentle out there. Try not to say, well, I'm the most popular, I rule the school. Well, you know what? You'll find when you get out into the real world that you aren't the most popular. They're the people that you kidded at, that looked funny and everything, actually amounted to something. So your taunting will have no effect on them. Now, any physical abuse, and I've talked about this before, for me it was in high school. I got a pencil, grade 9, jammed into my thigh, and I still have a mark from it. But thinking back on it, the kid that did it was first, I don't know, I think it was 9 or grade 10. I think it could have been grade 10. No, it would have been, I think it was grade 10. And he thought it was funny and everything. And I went to the nurse first, and we patched me up, and I never showed my parents the mark because I thought I had done something wrong. And the kid, all he got was a talk from the guidance counselor, and don't do it again. But in the aftermath, one of the kids that was sitting around, and he also got a chat from, he never really did say he was sorry for his parts. But what he did say was that he was, no, sorry, a bunch of kids and him went walking by, and they started to taunt me again. And they said, leave him alone. He's just. So for me, that was, I'm sorry. Now, people who think they're so great, you may be finding that you're not as you move on. And many people out in the world have to work with people they don't necessarily get along with. But they go out and they are respectful. And if anyone isn't respectful, there's a lot of work going on about being harassed out in the world. And if you are harassed, let someone know. And the biggest thing I used to say when on my human resources channel is let someone know. And keep records of everything. Because if you have records, a lot of times say, oh yeah, we were just playing a joke on them. Well, you weren't really playing a joke. Some of this is pretty horrific. And thinking back, I should have been at high school writing down the dates, writing down the times that I was abused. Now, in my grade 12 year at Shawnigan Lake, there was a boy that we all kind of knew, was the bully. We were living in houses. And this person saw that some grade 10 had bought a cheap couch. His father had brought it and they were going to make it in their room and everything. And he decided he wanted it in his room. So he had them all move it up into his room. And I didn't even know it was there, so. And then one of the kids came to look to see if he was around to take this back. They've had kind of enough, he was beating them all the time. And so I said, just leave it. And I went to the housemaster and I let him know this was going on. Bullying isn't a rite of passage. People need to stop to think that they're God's Almighty and they can get whatever they want out of people. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. And when their bullies are brought out and say, oh yeah, I was just kidding, I never did that. And if you have a detailed record, actually written on the days things happen, it goes a lot to allowing the person to see what they're doing and allowing people to help. Bullies may have been bullied along their way. That doesn't mean you just sit there and let it happen. But what you do is you let someone know. And you don't have to live with bullying. Now, if you go to a coach, to a teacher, to a counselor, and you say, I'm being bullied, well, if you stop doing this, you wouldn't get bullied. That's not an appropriate answer. The appropriate answer is to get them to stop doing it. A lot of people act the way they act because that's them. Sorry, I was getting dry. But people need to realize that bullying doesn't mean that you're the cream of the crop, that you're going to rise. Bullying is hurtful, it's damaged, people get emotional, and I don't know if I went through bullying through grade school, and it was really kind of hurtful when I saw, I don't know, I think it was an Archie comic. And picked it up and I started reading it. And this girl who, I think her name was Kathy, and she came and oh, you're touching my butt. Oh, I don't want it anymore. You can have, well, it was on the floor anyway. And I read it during lunch or something, and then I gave it to the library. And I didn't want it because you touched it. But if you gave it away, oh God, you should have told me that. And it was hurtful. And we don't realize how many times we go through this. And how many times people don't realize that, and or they look at it and go, "Oh, that's terrible." A lot of parts on TV or whatever will always say, "We'll go over and say hi, help them pick up." Invite them to lunch is a big one, and it doesn't mean you have to buy them lunch or whatever, but let them sit with you. Getting people to know other people. And just because they may like different things than you doesn't mean that your way is correct. And still, there's an awful lot. Yes, people don't always fit the exact same mold. Doesn't mean they're worthless than you. It means that they enjoy different things. So get out and, just say hi. How's your day going? If you see someone's knocked over something, help them. But you don't have to torment them, make their lives a living hell. And some of these kids have gone through a living hell. And people have texted them, and when I went to school, there wasn't such a thing as texting. And, they're telling them, go kill yourself. No one should be able to get away from that. And going and saying, oh, well, don't tell anyone, is ridiculous. If you need to get out there, you need to go to a counselor, a friend, a neighbor. You need to keep telling until someone does something. It's clear and simple. We can't always bully people. I'm sorry. Bullying has to stop, and it needs to start with you. So go out there, befriend. Who knows, you may find something in common interest. But don't torment them. don't kind of, well, you don't meet into our group. Well, maybe your group isn't as perfect as you think. You have to accept people as what they are. People don't shouldn't have to change. If you don't like them for their personality, that's fine, but don't bully. Don't. And this goes for elementary school, high school, college, and workplace. Stop bullying. Treat everyone with respect. Okay, so Nico's here wanting to play again, which is fun. Um, I just want to finish off with the closing thoughts of what I talked about today. The big one, which we spent over 20 minutes on, was about bullying and people who go out and shoot up these schools, go out and shoot up, or are planning these. They need help and they need acceptance. When they lash out, it's probably because people don't even know they exist. And if you're in a school and you notice someone there, say hi. It won't hurt you. But, we keep seeing all these fragmented, these loners out there. And yes, they may be a member of the science club or whatever, and they may be classified as a geek. But we need to ensure that they are included in everything. You don't have to go out and date them, but you can befriend them. And even if you don't like them, you can still respect them. And even if you don't like someone, if you see them in the hall, you can say, good afternoon. And if they ask you out and you're not ready to go out or you're not comfortable going out with him, which is fine, but remember, most of all, that person is a person. And to those who are getting bullied, remember when you get to, I don't want to use the adage that it was always used because it was pretty much for gay children and everything, but it does get better out there. Once you get out into the real world, you don't have to deal with the abuse. You may feel, yes, you have to, but you don't. And people have to stop making you feel that you are worthless, because you're not worthless. And always keep that in mind, and you will make through it. You don't have to go out and attack everyone because they don't fit into your world. So, as Ellen says, be kind to one another, respect one another. Anyone you see in the hall, say good morning or good afternoon or have a good night. You don't know what lives they're coming from. So have a good day and really think about how to stop bullying in every portion of our life.